The toughest battle you'll ever fight isn't with the world, it's with yourself every single day, in the silence of your own mind. This fight doesn't come with applause or an audience, but its impact shapes everything: your wins, your failures, and even what you believe is possible. The real war happens within you. Let me be blunt, you've been dodging this war. Those excuses you keep telling yourself, I can't, it's not the right time, it's not for me, each one takes you further from who you could become. Ignoring this fight doesn't make it disappear, it only makes the enemy stronger. It's time to face the truth. You're not defeated by what's outside of you, but by what you avoid confronting within. Do you think acting fast is always the right answer? Let's be real, running aimlessly is just a quicker way to get lost. We live in a world that glorifies instant action, where success seems to belong to those who never stop. But here's the truth, acting without thinking brings you closer to failure, not success. That urge to act immediately convinces you that every second lost is an opportunity wasted. It's that voice screaming in your head, pushing you to move now, even when you don't know where you're going. But acting for the sake of acting is a trap. How many times have you rushed into a decision, only to regret it later? Yeah, exactly. Most of the time, haste is just fear wearing a disguise. The fear of losing, of being left behind, of not being enough. Here's the game changer. Power comes from controlling your impulses. Not every opportunity is meant for right now. Time can be your greatest ally if you learn how to use it. Waiting isn't giving up. It's a strategic pause to assess the terrain before your next move. So, let me ask you, are you willing to stop, breathe, and think? Or will you keep running blindly into chaos? The choice is yours, and it determines whether you're in control or just reacting to the madness around you. You know what truly separates the winners from those who keep stumbling? It's not how fast they move, it's how clearly they see the path ahead. Without a calculated plan, you're just reacting to life, drifting like a leaf caught in the wind. And let me tell you this, failing to plan is planning to fail. Planning isn't just about making lists or organizing your calendar. It's an act of courage and discipline. It demands that you face the future head-on and confront some hard truths about where you are and where you want to go. And honestly, that's why so many avoid it. Planning forces you to face the fears you'd rather hide. The fear of not being enough, of failing, of realizing you're farther behind than you thought. But let me open your eyes. Ignoring the need to plan won't protect you from any of that. In fact, it locks you into a never-ending cycle of damage control, always scrambling to catch up. A well-thought-out plan gives you power, a long-term vision that turns small steps into giant leaps. Planning isn't about predicting the future perfectly. It's about knowing where you're headed and preparing for what's likely to come. Without that, you're just another lost soul, mistaking motion for progress. So, think about it. Are you going to keep living in improvisation mode, or are you ready to take control and plan for victory? Even the best plan means nothing without discipline. You could map out the perfect strategy, but if you don't have the guts to stick to it on the tough days, you'll stay exactly where you are. Preparation isn't glamorous. It's not something you can brag about on social media. It happens in the quiet moments where mental and physical resilience is built one brick at a time. Preparation is an act of self-respect, first for yourself, and then for the challenges you'll face. Underestimating its importance sends a clear message. You're okay with being outworked and outperformed. And here's the kicker. Most people live in a cycle of self-deception. Thinking I'll get to it later will save the day. But let me tell you, later never comes. What you push off till tomorrow, your competition is handling today. Being disciplined in preparation requires sacrifices, but the rewards are huge. It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. It's waking up early when your body begs for just 5 more minutes. It's studying when your mind feels like it's shutting down. It's training when the world around you is resting. Most importantly, it's trusting that all this effort will be the line between winning and losing. Now, take a hard look at your routine. Ask yourself, am I truly preparing for what I want to achieve, or am I just wishing things would magically work out? Because when the battle comes, the only thing separating victory from defeat will be the quality of the preparation you've done. On life's battlefield, rigidity is a one-way ticket to defeat. Change is the only constant in any fight. And the biggest mistake most people make? Clinging to a plan as if it's some unbreakable law, ignoring the reality that, in the heat of the moment, everything can flip upside down. Adaptability isn't just a bonus, it's survival. When you master the art of adjusting your strategy on the fly, you don't just survive, you dominate. Adaptability takes humility to admit you don't know everything and the courage to pivot when necessary. Abandoning a plan that no longer works isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Weakness is stubbornly sticking to the wrong path because you're too scared to admit you need to change. Life will test you. Your best laid plans will collide with forces beyond your control. An unexpected obstacle here, a setback there, and suddenly, nothing is going as expected. That's when you'll discover who's really in charge, you or your ego. Ego wants to prove it was right all along, but adaptability says, who cares if I was right? What matters is winning. So, let me ask you, are you ready to be flexible, or will you let rigidity break you? Because in the end, it's not the strongest or the smartest who survive, it's the ones who can adapt. And trust me, what's coming your way probably isn't what you expect. Ever feel like the world is practically shouting its answers at you, but you're too caught up in your own distractions to hear them? Reading the room is an underrated skill, but it's the key difference between amateurs and masters. It's not just about observing, it's about deeply seeing, recognizing patterns, uncovering hidden intentions, and spotting opportunities disguised as obstacles. Life and its challenges are like a giant chessboard. Every move, yours and your opponent's, tells a story. A moment of hesitation, a confident step forward, an extended silence, it's all revealing something. But to catch these clues, you've got to be present. You've got to quiet the noise in your head and truly focus on what's happening around you. Most people approach situations with their eyes glued inward, obsessed with their own anxieties and ambitions. And that's exactly what blinds them. While you're stuck in your own head, life is moving on, leaving you behind. Reading the room means shifting your focus outward, observing the scene with brutal clarity. Anticipating moves isn't about predicting the future. It's about understanding the present so well that the next step becomes obvious. It's a mental game won by paying attention to the details. Those who read the room with precision don't just react to what happens, they shape what happens. They act first because they've already seen what's coming. But here's the catch. Reading the room is useless if you don't act on it. Knowing the next move means nothing if you don't have the courage to make the right play. And this is where your ability to make tough decisions comes into play. The choices you avoid are the ones that define who you are. Sure, it's easy to make decisions when the stakes are low or the options are comfortable. But what about when every path before you feels like a minefield? That's where most people freeze. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making the wrong call, it all creates a paralysis that can cripple even the strongest among us. Let me tell you this, indecision is a choice. And more often than not, it's the worst one you can make. While you hesitate, time moves on. Opportunities disappear. And the weight of your inaction becomes heavier than any mistake you might have made by acting. Leading, whether it's your own life, a project, or a team, means having the guts to carry that weight. It's taking responsibility for the outcome, knowing that every wrong decision is a chance to learn, while doing nothing guarantees stagnation. Yes, you'll fail sometimes. Yes, it'll hurt. But that pain, it sharpens you for the battles ahead. The greats don't succeed because they're always right. They succeed because they act, because they're willing to risk, because they make the hard calls. Hesitation isn't protection, it's self-sabotage. So, ask yourself this, are you ready to carry the burden of tough choices? Because the next level of your life won't come from taking the easy road. It'll be built on those moments when you made the right decision, even when it felt like the hardest thing to do. Acknowledging the battle within you is the first step. But victory doesn't come from just recognizing the fight. It comes from having the courage to face it every single day. It's about rewriting the stories you tell yourself, replacing "I can't" with "let's see how far I can go." You don't have to win every internal battle at once. Some fights will wear you down, and that's okay. Real strength lies in getting back up the next day and pushing forward. Every small victory counts. Every moment of confronting your fears becomes the foundation for something greater. And in the end, when you look back, you'll realize it wasn't the world that defeated you. It was always up to you to decide how far you were willing to go.